Running stool tests can provide us with a lot of information, but there are times when choosing the wrong test can totally miss the mark. In this video, I'll cover why some stool testing isn't as helpful as it should be and what to consider when choosing the right test. When functional medicine practitioners suspect something is happening with the patient's gut, they will usually choose to run a stool test. Often, they are married to one test, which becomes their staple stool test, but when the results come back, their findings may fall short of what is actually going on with the patient. Let me explain. There is a broad range of stool tests available, and there are times when your typical choice may not be your best choice. For example, if you limit your testing to one that solely uses PCR technology to analyze bacteria, yeast, or parasites, this is super sensitive DNA analysis, but it's only as good as the probes that you have to find a certain bug. So my analogy is it's like a fruit bowl, and the fruit bowl could be full of fruit. You want to check if there are bananas in there, but you've only got probes for apples, oranges, pears, and lemons. So you would test the bowl and think, well, there are no bananas in there. But the whole bowl could be full of bananas, but if you didn't have the banana probe, how would you know? This limits your findings. Next, we move on to microbial reference libraries from different laboratories. One gold standard technique is to use a culture method for bacteria and yeast. These are then identified by a technology called MALDI-TOF, essentially a fingerprint database for identifying bacteria and yeast species. Two large commercial laboratories use different reference libraries. One is limited to approximately 60 yeast and 400 bacteria, but the other uses 180 yeast and 1,500 bacteria. Same tech, limited library, potentially limiting your results. Let's say, for example, that your client has been to Japan and they've picked up a bug there. If you choose the lab using the smaller reference library, you have a much smaller chance of getting that bug identified. We then have a range of chemistry-based markers that help us understand digestion, inflammation, and the health of the colonic environment. Some laboratories have way more than others here, and as a clinician, this is really relevant information that you want. But we see huge claims from some laboratories assessing markers which are not yet validated in stool, such as Epstein-Barr virus or gluten sensitivity. And finally, some tests are potentially oversensitive. With the best of intentions, practitioners love to address any abnormal finding in a result. But there may be times when over-treatment of something that was never a threat can go on to create a cascade of downstream problems. I hope this gives you a better appreciation of some of the complexities involved in something as seemingly straightforward as choosing a stool test. This is one of the guiding principles behind our Applied Functional Medicine Mentorship Program, where we help practitioners to understand and navigate testing more deeply so that they can feel more confident using a wider variety of tests based on patients' unique situations. To go deeper on this and related topics, register for our free masterclass on how to boost your clinical confidence practicing functional medicine. Simply scroll down to the bottom of this page.